evening. Good evening, everyone. Hi, good evening, everyone. We're just waiting for a few more people to join in, and we can kick start. And sorry we couldn't complete our session last week because the internet was not nice to us. But today we've got the whole internet issue sorted out, and we have with us Coach Amanda. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening. We have 5 people live now, so should we go on or wait a few more minutes?
Let's just give them like 2 minutes.
Okay, we'll give 2 minutes and see, so we can get more people. So how is the weekend going? How is everyone? How was the weekend? Hope you had fun. Hope you are not stressed out. Yeah, and our giveaway is still on. So we're going to be giving our branded shirt to 3 lucky winners today. So fast fingers. Oh, active participants. Active participants. Yes. Yes. Hi Tunde, hi Risi, hi Mr. Badams. Yes, we have 6 people. Yeah, I think we can start, and they'll catch up when they join.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm Sally. I'm sure most of you know me already, and I have Miss Amanda with us today. She's a child counselor.
Yeah,
and she's also a mental health advocate, and she's doing a lot of amazing things, and she'll be sharing with you most of the experiences today.
Yes.
Yeah, so definitely
experiences, stories that can actually back up, and then you know that the mental health of the child is very, very important, because it actually speaks volume for them when they actually grow up into adulthood. So last week, I'm very sorry about last week, the internet was just fluctuating. So today I'm here, and then like Sally has introduced, my name is Amanda Nzelu. Yes, Amanda Nzelu, and I'm a school guidance counselor. I'm a guidance counselor for a school here in Abuja. And basically what I do is, aside counseling, we also do like educational services, class placement, subject selection, university scouting, admission, and individual counseling, and then group guidance counseling. Then some other things I do aside that, like I'm here today. Yes, and all of that. So we're looking at the mental health of the 21st century child. Yes, why is it the 21st century child? Because I've seen that the trend coming from the previous century, 19, 20, 21st, this is like the century where everything is, coming out, evolving, technology, different kind of things, and the recent COVID-19 and all of that. So it's really, really important we talk about the mental health of the 21st century child, because they are the ones that are like the future generation for other centuries to come. Now, how has this affected them? When we look at the 21st century child, we see that they are not like the children of, like, let's say the 19th, or like our parents and stuff like that. I would like to even say that we are part of this 21st century, because even when like we have our own kids, they still follow in this to move to the next century. Now, the mental health of the 21st century child, not just even the 21st century child, even children beyond the 21st century, is actually very important, in the sense that, for example, like we had the COVID-19, during the pandemic, a lot of kids were at home, and for like 6-7 months, no school, no going out and stuff like that. Coming back to school, there were lots of behavioral disorders and some other things that kept emanating from drug abuse to different kinds of behavior. And then when you ask them, they'll tell you, I wasn't like this before, it was the lockdown, it affected me. Now, as a parent, how do you sense your child? Like, you have parents come in and they say, oh, my child has changed, and I don't know what changed in this child. This was not how you were before and stuff. And most of them, when I took like an evaluation and I asked them, these problems you have, can you actually talk to your parents about them? And you see like 90% will tell me no, I cannot relate these issues with my mom or with my dad. So who do they actually relate these issues with, you know? So it's very important that even as you have these children at home, even if it's not your child or anything, you should be sensitive to the mental health of this child, because the emotional well-being is as important as the physical well-being of that child. And what they perceive now is what they grow up to be, and they transfer that. So we have broken adults today, and those broken adults, as a result of the fact that they didn't even realize that they had a mental health issue. You know, when they say mental health, they think it's your madness.
Yeah.
That's what comes. They think it's madness, but they don't know that it's your emotional stability, your physical well-being, including spiritual,
ability to be productive.
Yes, all together, you know, that shapes you and all of that, and then gives you that resilience to cope with stress and all of that. So when we look at the mental health of a child, we're looking at, okay, how is this child able to cope emotionally? How is this child faring physically and everything? How does it affect the child's performance in school or even in life in general? And then there are some things like factors that can actually affect the mental health of the 21st century child, like the typical COVID that just happened. Yes, you know, a lot of them were nobody was actually expecting it, but it shaped their mindset. It changed a lot of things about them.
And lots of parents got to know their child more because they had no
escape, there was closure. So those things that they'll probably like overlook or go to work, come back and see that, oh, you're here, let's go to bed and stuff like that. They actually had time to see. Like I remember one serious case of the parent had to use a very drastic measure for the child because they didn't even know that child could go to that extent, you know, and stuff like that. And the child also felt the impact of what they did. So like, let me just cite something. Yesterday I was watching a program, some of these cases on murder, teens murder and stuff like that. And you know, the rough childhood you give to children these days actually shapes the way it shapes them when they grow up. Now this boy is 18. He had a rough childhood with a parent, drug abuse, the mother was abusing drugs. So the father took him when he was 6 years old. You know, as a child, like we always say, the first 5 years of a child is very important. Very all the stages of the anal stage, the oral stage and all of that, the trainings and the care, the support, the love you give to them is very, very important. It's going to register something in their brains. Like I can actually remember some things I did when I was 5, and I could remember some punishments my mother gave me when I was 5, you know. So those pictures stay there. At some point it's like it registers unconsciously, but constant reminder of those kinds of behaviors and stuff like that just keep coming out, and you see. So this boy, you know, rough childhood, and his father believed that the mom had done damage to him because she was abusing drugs and stuff. So he took the only way he felt that he could actually correct this boy or make him see that life is not like this is through hard work. And when I mean hard work, like child abuse hard work, you know. If, for example, a kid in the kitchen maybe trying to cook and then he's burning something, normal thing you're supposed to do is come into the kitchen, help that child, and tell that child next time when you do it this way, you don't do it, you get burned. But instead he will tell the boy to do press up. And the boy kept doing press up. This is like a true life story. The boy kept doing press up. For mistakes, little mistakes, you know. And even when his uncle comes to like rescue him, the father is always like, don't tell me how to raise my kids. So there was this hard punishment. There was this, aside that verbal bullying, you know, emotional torture. And the boy will walk like 5 miles from his house to the school and stuff like that. Eventually, he had to go call a policeman to come and threaten his son and tell him the dangers. And I'm like, why are you threatening a small child that you know you can actually care for? But he only saw that the way he can help this boy is through discipline and hard work. But he was damaging this child.
All he needed was empathy.
Yes, he was damaging this child. So at some point, he went back to his mom. Now the mom is working like 2 or 3 jobs and she doesn't have time. He's now finding solace in video games, which I like to talk. Some of these games you allow your kids to play, it's fine, allow them to play, but there should be strict monitoring. Now, all of that rage, all of that pain all of the abuse he held inside of him for like since when he was 16 or 18 years. And then at the end of the day, what happened? The game he was playing were games that where they shoot guns. So he used the rage inside, like reflecting on the game. And the game was all about snatching guns from police, violence, running away from cops, and when they catch you, you shoot them. So he had all of this every day of his life. The mom would be like, "You're too obsessed with this game." But you see, he was replaying his childhood in that game. He was projecting his frustration. He was projecting all of that abuse over a long time in that game. And so he became obsessed with it. He felt that this is the only place I can actually unleash whatever is inside of me. And then at the end of the day, he went to steal, robbed a laundry, took some money, and they took him to the police station. Now, they took him to the police station, and while the policeman was like, "Okay, just tell us, you took the money and stuff, we could give you like 1 or 2 years in prison," the only thing that came to his mind as at then was that game. Take the gun and shoot and run. And then he actually, as the policeman turned, he took the gun. And the policeman was like, "Okay, why will an 18-year-old boy who has never done anything handle a gun?" And before you know, he killed like 3 policemen. Yes, and ran away. Took their car, just the way he sees it in the video game. Steal their car and run. But of course, they cornered him, and he actually faced life. He actually faced death penalty by this, I think, lethal injection or something like that at that age. And all he could actually say, the words he actually said, he said was, "Life is a game. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win." That was the only thing, But then it has affected him. This post-traumatic stress disorder has gone on in his life. And you see, sometimes the way we raise kids, what we say to them, how we treat them, actually leaves them scarred. And if care is not taken, you see that your child will start exhibiting different kinds of behavior. And you wonder, okay, where is this behavior coming from? So that's why it's good when your child start being withdrawn, your child starts acting strange in ways that, okay, every time they're always feeling tired, I'm tired. They don't have the zeal to do anything, either schoolwork or anything. They start having trance behavior and stuff. It's the time you actually draw them closer. Yes, you actually draw them closer and make them your friends. Let them tell you. Some of them experience a lot of things, but they can't say it out. So it's very, very important that even as a parent or any guardian around, when you see a child that is troubled, you will actually know, because it shows in their character, it shows in their appearance, it shows even in school work. Some of them come to me and they say, "I don't know what's wrong with me, I'm just tired, I'm just this, I'm just that." They can't actually place whatever they are feeling. So their mental health is actually very important. Ways that you can actually help them, when be caring and supporting. They need like a responsible adult to be there. First of all, that responsible adult should understand that, okay, do I even have mental issues first? If I have mental issues, like mental health issues, I should be able to take care of it before I can take care of someone else. And that's why we have lots of many people who have mental illnesses. They don't even know. They don't know. At some point they come in, they are depressed, and then they have children at home. And then the children are like, they come to you, "Mommy, leave me alone. I'm tired every day. They just perceive that, okay, I don't think I can even come close to this person. So you have a child dealing with depression at 5 years old. You can't sense it. You have a child dealing with so many other things. You can't sense either mood swings, or the child just keeps crying all the time, or there's no zeal to do anything. All these are signs that probably your child is drawing closer to like mental health issues that you really, really need to tackle and all of that. So when we look at the 21st century child, the 21st century child is exposed to more information. The 21st century child is exposed to the internet and all of that, good and bad, which sometimes you just need to put a hold on that as a parent. 21st century child is exposed to other children from different backgrounds, and then there's where you have the when they come back, you say, "I don't think It's you took after me, or you took after your father. I don't know what is. The environment also will shape that child. Aside the hereditary of whatever they've acquired from you, the 21st century child is exposed to so many things that, as at our own time, will restrict you, or we're not even there. So like what I just said, in video games, some of them you need to pay attention. It shapes their mindset. That was what happened to that child. He was abused, his parents neglected. Even when he called his mother, the mother said, "Oh, I can't believe this. You're in a cell, you're in jail," and then she hung up. She didn't even come for him, So he was left to act on his own. So sometimes when we leave our kids to some certain things like gadgets and stuff, addiction creeps in, obsession creeps in. They find solace in a particular thing, and you're not even aware. And gradually they are going down, and stuff like that. So now, what do we do about it? We need to sit down, reflect, and think, okay, how is my child faring? How is not just, okay, are you sick with maybe headache or something? How is my child faring mentally? Because if your child is not mentally fit, it affects everything about your child. How is your child faring mentally? There should be a time where you sit down. There was one thing a parent did. She said she just took out time, I mentioned it last week, to tell the kids, write down whatever you think about me. Whatever you think is wrong. Whatever you think you are not doing that you want me to change, and how do you feel about me, without being judgmental or without saying, okay, I'm going to whip you for writing this, And when the results came back, the woman was shocked. She was really, really shocked. Another child again during class were doing, okay, your parents love you, and he said, my mom does not love me. And I looked at her and I said, no, your mom loves you. He said, no. Sternly, my mom does not love you. He repeated it 3 times. So why is it that your mom does? He said, because she prefers my sisters to me. And he's the only boy. So at that point, probably the way she's raising him, she feels that he's a boy child and he's really hard to be hard on this boy. But the boy is perceiving it that you don't love me. And he's growing up with that. So I had to call the mother to her and say, see, this boy feels that at 6 years you don't love him. And she was shocked. She really felt it to her heart, So when we call our children closer, let them use the evaluation system, or write out what you feel about me, wear it out, and then let's see how we can work it out.
Parents should be open to reviews as well.
Yes, they should be open to, and yes, it's good, discipline is good, but then when you discipline a child and then you don't call the child to order to say, this is what you did and that is why I disciplined you, and if it's not like I love you less, but I want you to go through the right path, rather than just dishing out punishments, hard work, verbal abuse. Verbal abuse goes a long way in destroying a child's mental health.
Especially their confidence.
Yes, especially their confidence, especially their safety. The home should be a place where they are safe, not a war zone. It should be a place where they are safe. So you constantly hear people tell their children, you're dull, you don't have sense. And I'm wondering, you speak negative things to the lives of these children, it affects them. They grow up and they feel, yes, I'm dull. I'm this, I'm that, because my mommy said so, my daddy said so.
And for a mom to say that,
it's coming like from a very strong authority.
Exactly.
That they have
so
at
it
home.
sticks.
So it sticks then, And sometimes they carry it on even to adulthood, where they keep remembering, remember you used to tell me this, and this is how it is now, so deal with it, stuff like that. So when we see kids, we should be mindful of the things we say to them, because they pick those words, they pick those images, it's there, registered there in their mind, it's there, it's not going away, except you come back and alter it and change it and bring something positive to clean out the negative, And then aside that, again, your kids should feel safe at home. Sometimes you have kids come to school and it's time to go, they don't want to go home. And I've had some of them tell me, this is the safest place for me to stay. This school is, I don't want to go home. Anytime I'm going home, I'm sad. I prefer to stay here and take whatever stress that is happening than to go home. Because fine, the home, some of them are already broken. And then living with parents, maybe the single parents and all of that. But even at that, they still feel that there is no love, there is nothing to hold on to again in life, So that demoralizes them already. it shakes them already. And someone will now say, I remember the question from last time, coming from broken homes, does it affect? I think it was Coach, the other lady. Yes. I saw a question where someone said, single parents, does it affect the child? As to some extent, it affects, but it depends on the parents now that is handling these children, you know, because many people come from broken homes, but you know, the parents identify that yes, this is it, but I don't want this issue to affect my child. So they find a way to help that child grow and realize that even if you are coming from a home where you don't have a father or a mother or something, you can still be a better person in life, you know. So that has shaped some children, but in some other cases, it's not like that. It does even cause more harm, you know. So the home should be a safe place for your child, first of all, so that they can, when they come back from school or anywhere, they go back home, they feel safe. And they're not just safe, they feel like yes, there's support. It boosts their confidence, it boosts everything about them, gives them peace of mind.
And they can communicate to their mind without being punished.
Without being punished, you know. But when you have a home where the father will abuse the child and say mean, demeaning words, you know, the kids we even see these days, a lot of them have mental health issues. A lot of them, you know. If you're in the school system and they come, like as I am, they come to me, a lot of them, you know. But when you help, and then there's no corresponding factor from the home, it's like what you're doing is just okay, it's just here, and then you surface work. When they go back home, it's like they reinforce 10 times, coming back damaged. So you're repairing their damage, they're repairing their damaging. And even when you say okay, let's move to the home, it's a different ball game entirely, because some of them don't even want to like hear or get a third party to interfere or something like that. You know, so all these things that affect. But for the children, I'm glad that most of them are learning how to speak up. And some of them,
second generation.
Yes, yes, second generation. They are learning how to speak up, and some of them have taken it upon themselves to like have that mentality of whatever my dad or mom is doing, I'm not going to be in that line with them. And some of them have taken the opportunity that okay, realize that counseling services actually exist. And they are happy to embrace it, because most people don't even, when you say go and see a guidance counselor, what am I going to say a guidance counselor for? I can counsel myself, you know. But when they come into the office, they see it's a different ballgame entirely. They are aware, you know, as little as maybe someone just said something negative to them, they will run to me just because it's affecting them. So I like that part about them, but we need a corresponding factor at home. So this awareness is, parents should know that their children are still their friends, and in as much as you're being strict or you're disciplining them, please draw them closer to you. Let them express themselves. Be part of what they do. Be part of what they do. When they go anywhere, even if they are like 20, 25, 30 years, be part of what they do. You're still their parent. Ask them questions. How was your day? You know, get involved. Those things they do, the phones they go online, you know, what do they do? And so what do they see? What do they watch? Recently I was talking to my kids. I said, when you go online, I did a survey. Yes, it's good to give your children phone, but please monitor what the usage, you know, and you buy data for them, but you don't know what they use it for. So I went to the lower class. I said, how many of you have phones? All of them. Only just 2 of them, they didn't have phone. I said, okay, how many of you have tablets? All of them. Still those 2 children I don't have. How many of you have laptops? Like more than half of them. Do you use them? Yes. So when you go online, you see things that pop up like ads, different ads. So list the ads out. They gave me numerous ads. And there was something that was striking. Now they were saying there's this game called Talking Angela.
Okay.
Yes. So I think it's like, I don't know the game, talks or something like that, talking Tom or something like that, but this one they said it was Talking Angela. And when they looked in the eyes of the Talking Angela, they saw someone wearing a black hoodie. Yes. And the person sent them a message, because the game you can actually chat. So the person sent them a message, what is your name? And they replied their name. The person sent them, how old are you? They replied their age. And these are kids of 10, 11. And then the person sent them their address in Nigeria. Say you live in Nigeria, you live in an estate in Apo, and you live in Abuja.
Wow.
Yes. And then they were like, okay. So they looked and they were seeing inside the eyes of the somebody wearing a black hoodie. Because they were scared, they logged off and deleted the game. Now, some of these kids, their location services are on, and they don't even know their location services are on when they browse.
They just play.
They just play. But play can actually cause damage to them. And probably there so many other things they even said. Like there was one that said, Ma, there's a time maybe you play, go online, there's this game, it will tell you look back. When you look back, it will tell you something is going to fall behind you. When you look back, and that thing actually falls behind you. So they have this picture in their head. They go to bed with it. And then you see your kids start having nightmares. And then from nightmares, it graduates to some other mental illnesses. You don't know where it's coming from. So in as much as you let your kids have access to some of these technological devices and all of that, you should actually pay attention to what they look at. It might not be from you that the mental illness, it might be from what they are watching. Because what you watch sticks more than what you actually read. It be from what they are saying, from the chats, and a lot of kids have been lured in like that and even taken to places that you can't even find them again just because they are exposed to things.
Just
like
imagine the kid wasn't scared and locked up and they actually continued the conversation.
So things like that. So I asked him, what did you do? He said, I was scared, I logged off and I deleted the game.
If it was a curious child, he or she will keep on engaging. And from there.
So I spoke to them, I told them that some of these things you watch, some of these things you see, and the thing is, when these ads pop up, they have this 30 seconds video that will play. You cannot cancel until it's done playing. So they see all of that. Sometimes different things like the XXX movies and all of that just pop up and they are watching. Before you know what's happening, these kids are lured in. Like you said, a curious child will want to check, and the next thing, it becomes a habit. From there, they are obsessed with this thing and it affects them in every way they behave. So as they progress in age, there should be strict monitoring as well as show them that these things, when you go here, this is wrong, this is how it can affect you. Not just what you see, but psychologically, and stuff like that. It can actually change the way you think, the way you act. So they should be aware and sensitive to changes in the children or any child they have at home, or any child even in the environment. Like the Nigerian setting will say, it's not one person that trains a child, but we have society that trains the child. So even if you see your neighbor's child exhibiting, you can call the parents and say, I've noticed this thing about your child, please pay attention and stuff. I know some people will go around and say it's not your business, but you cannot see someone's child go wrong and keep quiet about it. So a lot of these affects, and so many other factors that can contribute to the mental health of the child. Now, how do you make them feel comfortable? You show them care. Like I said, you show them love. Let them know that yes, I'm loved, I'm supported, and I'm cared for by a responsible adult that knows that yes, mental health awareness is something that we need to pay attention to in this 21st century. Allow them express themselves in their own way. Don't try to raise them up as adults. Let them have that childhood experience. Let them go through that childhood. They are children, so let them go through it. But while they go through, you call them, correct them with love. Yes, correct them with love, because love, I think love conquers everything. When a child knows you love him or her, I feel that they're even drawn to you to tell you whatever they're going through, or whatever someone said to them outside, or whatever someone is doing to them outside, And even in the house, there should be like strict monitoring where you have adults that come in every now and then. Your children should know boundaries, and they should know boundaries with these adults. Like we always teach our kids at home, in school, there, especially the girls, when an uncle or somebody comes into the house, don't just run and sit on their lap. And they say sit on the lap, you say no, and I don't want to sit, because you can never tell what is going on. And
I think there is this mistake our parents do when they say, oh, your husband, your wife. So just because you say, oh, this uncle is your husband, so she feels comfortable. And oh, if the uncle has other motives, yes, like, oh, I'm your husband, then it gives him that opportunity go beyond his boundaries.
Exactly.
So I think our parents should stop attaching.
No, don't attach. Oh, this is my wife. No, a 5-year-old child is not your wife.
Exactly.
Because they are drawn to affection at that age. At that 5 years, 6 years, 7, 8, they are drawn to affection. So whoever gives them the attention and the affection and the gifts and all of that, they follow suit.
And we say this is your husband, when the uncle and uncle, let's do husband and wife duties. You, as the parent, has already validated that, oh, this is your husband.
So now you're affecting that child's psychology. So you have a lot of them grow up sexually abused. You have a lot of them grow up verbally abused, mentally, drugs, and all of that, And you see, you have people walking around who have we always say this about adverse childhood experience. They have baggages in them walking around like that, and because they don't even understand that it's a problem, they transfer it. Get married, give birth to children, and still raise these children in that same atmosphere. So the atmosphere has to change when you raise your child now, because they are not like the kids of 20 years ago generation. They are smarter than you think. True. Very smart. True. When they outsmart you, you'll be like, I'm your mother, I'm your father, but they're smarter. They have their ways. And then sometimes when you even engage them in discussion, the things that come out of their mouth, you wonder and be like, oh wow, okay. So don't put them down, that make them feel like they're like below. Give them the sense of belonging, I guess. Enlighten them, educate them on some certain things that can actually affect them, and be there for them. Allow them to explore themselves. Allow them to play, go indoors and outdoors, so that they can gain exposure, refresh their minds and stuff like that. And this thing of you always cage your child in the house, you always caging. I don't know, if there can just be a time you relax some of these things. Yes, you're scared something might happen, but then at some point that child is still going to break loose. Child is still going to go out. Now you cage someone for like 10, 15, 20 years, the child goes out and does not even know how to mingle. There's no social experience at all. Now he's faced with just me and the world. It's like he released someone and the person is like, oh, is this how the world is? Is this how everything is? So they should allow them to play. Let them have outdoor games, indoor games, or you monitor what they do and stuff like that. Let them feel like, okay, yes, I can do this. Let them feel that, yes, okay, I'm appreciated when I do this. Let them feel like, okay, my mom allows me to do this, explore myself and be who I am. And another thing is, in as much as we're trying to, help these children, shape them mentally so they can become stable, let us avoid comparison. When you compare a particular child to the other child, it affects them and it demoralizes them. You show favoritism to one, and then these other ones are just there. There's no balance in that at all. All children are unique. All of them are unique, and they are all running their own races differently. They are all legendary in their own lanes, So let's stop the comparison between this kid and this kid, or this child and your neighbor's child, or your friend's child. They are all unique. They're all unique, The words we say to them matter a lot. I remember my mom telling me a few days ago, she said, do you know when you were small, I used to tell you, one day I'll come to your office, I'll sit down. When I open the door, the secretary will say, who are you? I'll say, I'm Miss Amanda's mother, let me in. So now I said, okay, now you can come to my office. I have that office. Now you can come in. She said it like, the words you keep telling children when they are small, they may grow up with those words. It's like you're prophetically speaking into their lives and telling them this, and it affirms them, gives them that sense of courage, gives them that sense of, I need to do it, I need to become this thing they're saying, I need to become. So when you constantly tell them negative words, they will constantly dwell in that until they grow. You constantly tell them positive words, they constantly dwell in that until they grow. So we should try as much as possible to look into our own mental health too, as individuals, and also the children, because the world is changing, and vast experiences are going on a lot. I was reading something and they said mental health is going to be like the fastest growing thing from now, like 10 years time too. Like a lot of people are going to need mental health.
There was a survey actually, they said AIDS, heart diseases, different, like all of mental health
Yes,
issues, all those issues combined together, mental health issues on top of the list.
Yes, mental health. I remember Tunde Rema gave me one book, Deadly Emotions, and in that book, you know, he had all of these sicknesses and all of that, and how they are related to stress, how they come out and be visible, how they affect your health, how it pulls you down, and then when you now start seeking for help, you know. So we should watch it. It's something that I'm glad it has come to Nigeria, and people are embracing it. They now understand that the person that went to stand at Third Mainland Bridge to jump off is not insane. It's just because he did not realize that there was a mental health problem, and it probably was too late, or there was no place to go.
He couldn't cope.
He couldn't cope, and then so the depression had to push him. And then everybody is talking about depression. Kids will actually get depressed too, and you see them. They start having mood swings. They start becoming sad. When the sadness has gone past 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, constant sadness, you know that there's something wrong with your child. The child is sinking into depression, and what's the root cause? And that's why we need to have that closure with children. You know, most of them are expressive, most of them are not expressive. It depends on the personality of your child. But you're the one that gave birth to your child, you should know that, okay, my child is this. My child is always having anger, is always angry. What is he always angry about? My child is always moody. Why is he always moody? My child is probably hyperactive and stuff like that. Okay, what are some of those things? You know, children also need to have a balanced diet, because all of these things affect their health and you know the way the reason. So that's part of it too. The child has to have a balanced diet at home, eat, exercise. You know, once in at least take them out, let them experience outside. You know, there's this natural air that comes with nature that helps to refresh, calm you, and when they come back, they're excited. You hear them talk about, oh, I went to this place, I went to this place, I love my mommy, I love my daddy. Make them feel safe, they're happy, you know, stuff like that. So when you start seeing signs of probably mental illnesses in your children or your child, please, they should seek for help. And they should actually not say, ignore it and be like, yeah, we went through
just
this.
a phase.
It's just a phase.
You'll be
pass. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And we went through worse than this. We went through
during
worse.
my days.
During my
I was trekking to school.
No, those days are gone. Those days have changed. In the best way, make your child comfortable. Your child does not need to go through what you went through to be strong.
True.
That child needs a better life. It needs a stable home. It needs to be sane, you know, to give you results. Because I always say, if you neglect this child when the child is 5, 6, 7 and you are growing old, who is going to look after you? Is this same child that will come back to you, and for some reason they'll have a reason to come back to you as their parent and say, because you love me, you took care of me, made me safe, I'm coming back and I'm helping you. Not someday you find yourself abandoned somewhere. Because and they themselves, that pattern just continues. So let's break that cycle of, in those days, this is how I do it, this is how I do it. Yes, in those days there are some things that still a little bit practical, but you can twerk it to fit your child's personality. You won't always go by those days and stuff like that. Allow them explore, let them become who they want to be, please. Let them become who they want to be. Just guide them properly and try and create an atmosphere where they feel safe, so that you know we can reduce the level of mental illnesses and stuff, and they can grow. So if your child has any mental illnesses or you're seeing signs, please reach out and seek for help, and so they can help your child too. It's not everything that is village people or something.
Village people.
So that's it. The 21st century child is very important. Their mental health is very important, and even the people taking care of them, to your mental health is important. So let's try as much as possible to embrace healthy lifestyles that can actually keep us.
Thank you. So I can see we have lots of questions and all.
Okay.
So and I think that that review, like parents should adopt that review thing.
Review thing.
Okay, once in a month. Okay, what's happening with you kids? What have I done wrong? What have I done? What do you want me to improve on? Like, let them know that okay, they can criticize, they can review the parent without being, oh, if I say mommy is wicked to me, mommy doesn't love, mommy won't flog me.
Yes.
Yeah, so we need to encourage parents to do that. So children, I said, children who felt unseen will often become adults who develop unhealthy relationships with food. Their bodies and external sources is an attempt to avoid how they felt in the first place. Okay. Amanda, I have seen a situation where parents are separated after a child and both parents wanted to be with the child using different kind of negative means at the age of 7 years. Okay, I can't see the whole of that question, so we come back to that, and I can see we have few more questions here. Okay, so this one says, sometimes people who have illnesses or diseases from birth and they think all sorts of things, so they can. I can't see the whole question. Is it normal for young male to be depressed?
Okay, so is it normal for young males to be depressed? Depression does not have gender. Let me just say that depression does not have gender. It can come to you young, either male or female, and it can come to you old, and even as come to children. So depression does not have gender. It's just the fact that you need to know what is actually causing your depression. Is it money? Is it love? Is it
school stress?
Is it, you always know why you're sad.
Just reflect.
Just know why you're sad. Like I said, depression is an accumulation of so much sadness. It's not, I always tell my children, it's not okay, you had a bad day today, you're sad, and the next minute you're up again, you're fine. But when you're sad, hours have passed, the next day you're still sad, the third day you're still sad, then you're actually gradually moving to depression. So just know what makes you sad first. Yes, and then tackle it from there and say, this is the root cause of why I'm being sad, and I've been sad for many days, or it's getting to weeks because of these reasons. Then you seek for help. We talk to someone, please. Let's learn to talk to someone, and some people, let's learn to also check up on people too. So depression does not have gender. It can come to anybody, but just know why you are sad for days, that is, and what's leading to your depression, and seek for help.
So is it wrong to play violent video games?
Yes. Now, violent video games. You agree with me? I don't know for you, but when you play violent video games, what are you gaining from it? It's only showing you different ways that violence can actually occur. And if you're not someone who is mentally stable, even if you're someone who is mentally stable, at some point these games will actually come back to you. They will affect you. Either you begin to see things, and situations might just pop up or trigger that will make you act the way violently, and you be like that story I shared. When they got to court, the boy said, the boy's lawyer said the boy is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder because of the abuse from childhood. But the lawyers representing the police said he has been obsessed with the games over like 12, 15 years playing those games. So it has become like a place where he finds succor. And the only thing he could think of, reacting this way. So when you play games that are violent, they actually shape your mind, whether you like it or not. There's something that lives there. There's something that lives. When you play it, you are thinking of, let me go back to this game because I need to shoot something, I need to run something, I need to get to that point. And when you play these games with people too, you'll be like, oh no, this person is at top, maybe like 3 stars, I need to get to 4 stars, and I need to be the pro. So sometimes
and you get more violence
to get
to the next
level. Yes. So it needs more violence. So it's not really nice, like playing those kind of games, and then you see yourself sinking in deep that every day you cannot do without playing that game. 4 hours you're sitting down playing a violent game. You don't even know, a little thing might happen, and if you're not, there's a way the mind works. Sometimes different scenarios may play out, and you might just imagine that knife there and think, oh, this game, let me just throw it to the wall, and you don't know how you just start practicing. So let's play games that actually make us mentally stable and actually make us learn things, not in a violent way, because they actually have a way to affect us. Whether even the good ones affect us positively, the bad ones affect us negatively. Over time, is accumulation of these things. It might not come at once, but
And probably the boy also, he saw an opportunity of what he has been playing. And he's like, oh, curiosity, let me try how it goes. Maybe he feels that adrenaline. Oh, I can escape.
That was exactly how it was, a true life story. And this is a boy that wanted to join the Air Force. He had actually gotten high grades. But, he didn't even know what happened to him. He just went out that night. Like, okay, let's go. And he went out, went to steal, and took the police and killed 3 of them.
He wanted to try his skills in real life.
So, that's...
is it okay to monitor a child's phone activity?
Yes, please monitor. There are even applications you can put to monitor their whereabouts. Yes, monitor. A child is a child, so please monitor their activity. I'm begging you.
So is it okay to track your child's phone? You just answer that.
Yes, track. When my cousin was growing up, and her mom, she had a phone early, and she had to put this app to track her. Like, okay, you say you're going out somewhere with your friends, no problem, go out. Or I'll call a cab guy that will come and take you. But from there, you see that, okay, my friend said we should go to this place, and then you see them in Gwarimpa, or you see them somewhere else, and you're wondering, but you told me you're going to Use, so why am I seeing you in Gwarimpa? And I don't know the people you're meeting with, So this influence, you can never tell. So if you need to put a tracker, please put it and track them. Like I always say, they themselves don't even know their location services are turned on for different
They don't know
sites.
the extent.
They don't know the extent to which they go. So if you have to track, do track and monitor.
Okay. Do you have to feel suicidal to be regarded depression? Okay, I think she was trying to ask, do you have to feel suicidal to be regarded as depression?
Okay, suicidal thoughts are thoughts that come with depression. It's like the highest, depression has stages, acute depression, mania, and all of that. So suicidal thoughts actually emanate from depression. Please, if you are having suicidal thoughts, please speak to someone. It's gotten to the height. There's one thing like feeling low, feeling down, feeling like I can't move, because depression will come with a lot of fatigue, tiredness, and all of that. You don't enjoy things you were doing before. Nothing seems interesting to you and stuff. It progresses from that level to the level of, okay, why not just kill yourself? So suicidal thoughts are like part of depression. It's the line of, yes, I'm depressed. When you're depressed, at some point you start thinking, oh, let me just end my life. So if you've gotten to that point, please don't even get to that point. I always tell people, once you start saying that you're getting sad, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, you've lost interest in the things that actually excite you. Please,
you're withdrawn from people.
Yes, gather that strength anyhow you can, and then talk to somebody and look for help, so that it doesn't get to where you think of killing yourself.
And you can be depressed and not be suicidal, depending on the
level, yes.
Depression.
But I always say that if you're depressed, suicidal thoughts will definitely come in. It's just that once they come in, your ability to shake those thoughts off and say no, Okay. So I always say nobody is what you're killing yourself for. Don't kill yourself for anything, and no situation is worth killing yourself for. If you kill yourself and you sink in that depression, you go. The problem still is there. The life will move on, and all of that. So let's try as much as possible to be aware.
Okay, sometimes people who have illnesses or diseases from birth, and they think all sorts of things. So,
I think she's trying to say maybe like you have those like illnesses from birth
and think negatively about themselves. Yes. Can it affect their mental health?
Yes, it does. And that was one of the things we were talking about, like some of those limiting belief thoughts we have about ourselves because of probably we're ill, like you have a terminal illness. And that's why I said I wanted to share a video with you on autism, about a boy who was actually autistic and people teased him and all of that. Now, if you have a good support system, it can actually help you and stuff like that. But if you don't, I know some people might probably be orphans and they don't have people to take care of them, and you're born with illnesses and stuff like that affects you. There are still people who are out there that care for you. You just need to find them. There are people out there, organizations out there that care for you. You know, you might not see them in your immediate environment, but I believe that if you go online and search for organizations that care about certain people like this, you actually find them, like your mental health initiatives and stuff that find them. So some of these things, yes, probably you were born, I've seen very, strange videos of different kinds of illnesses and people who were born differently. I think that's the name of it, and born differently. You see some with no hands, some with kind of like discoloring in their hair, some their eyes, some their skin and stuff like that, and they keep telling themselves negative words. So I believe the people around them should actually help them and speak positive things in their life and create. I watched a video also, born differently. This girl, she doesn't have hands, she was born like that. Of course, they tease her. She uses her leg to do everything. And she uses her leg to fry eggs. Yes, she uses her leg to, and even she has a boyfriend. The boyfriend was like, when I go out with my girl, they always look at us strange. So what did they took it to YouTube and owned their own YouTube channel, and then to speak to the world that people who are born differently or born with illness, it doesn't make them less of a person, and it's an inspiring story to other people too who are born. So that thing that you feel is an illness, you can take it up as a challenge
and
to
turn it to strength.
And turn it to strength and speak to people, and you will find that there are many and thousands and millions of people who actually can relate to you, and you also be a source of inspiration to them.
And they learn as well.
Yeah, but first of all, you need to break that limiting belief, those bad negative things you have about yourself, because you're beautiful in your own way, you're wonderful in your own way. Yes, and you were created that way, or something's happened in life that way that changed everything, but it shouldn't pull you down. Yes, draw strength from that disability or that illness and turn it into something that can be inspiring to yourself and others too.
I think last week someone was asking how do you support kids with autism?
Okay. How do you support kids with autism? So the school I work in, they have a special needs center, special needs class for children with autism. Now, definitely before you say your child is autistic, you would have gotten a diagnosis to know that, okay, this is the spectrum that he belongs to. If it's ADHD or hyperactive or any of those, you have known the spectrum he belongs to. Now, there are schools that actually have special needs centers, and they have their special needs teachers that are trained for them. So they bring them to school, they register them, and these teachers are standing beside them in classes. Like, I know there's one that was in the nursery too, and he's now in primary 1.
Wow.
Yes. And I always say these things, these autism kids are very intelligent. They are very smart. It's like the other part of their brain that didn't develop moves to this other side of the brain, and it's like ×2. Yes, so you have people who do extraordinary things, and you begin to wonder, how many brains do they have? But they are lacking in this part of development, but the other side is sharpened, because it's like everything moved from here to that side. Yes. So there are schools and there are people who actually take care of autistic children. So it's not like you lock them up in the house and you're ashamed of them. No, there are so many kids now, and their parents come to pick them up, and they are doing fine. They start teaching them like motor skills, they start teaching them sensory skills, they start teaching them, some of them start speaking. It might take time, but consistency. Yes, the child will start picking up, and you see that, oh, my child never used to write. These ones, they write, they engage in mathematics quiz. Every day I pass the board, that boy is like number 1 in his class, and his spelling, handwriting, he doesn't really talk that much, but the teacher, the person that is with him actually pushes him to say, so if he passes you, he might not say good morning, because of course he's not really aware. And she's like, say good morning. You must stand and say good morning. Say, and he looks and says, good morning. And he does gradually and said good. How are you? And he will reply, you fine, and stuff like that. So there are schools that actually have places where your child can actually go to school. Yes, but they have their teachers by them beside in the class.
And if anybody's interested, just hit us up and we'll link you up. And thank you so much. And I think we have 5 more minutes. And before we go, what advice? Because one thing I've taken from this session is that as much as we're talking about the kids, how things can affect them negatively and positively, parents, guardians, caregivers play key role
Yes.
in it. So, what advice do you have for parents and guardians?
Okay, so well, there's no one way about this, but the thing is, as a parent, as a child, parent, guardian, mental health is one of the key things now, and everybody's becoming aware. So don't be left out in the process. Equip yourself. Check that okay, yes, everything is okay, and I myself, I can actually now raise a child to become somebody better in society rather than raising a defunct adult. So for the parent, my advice is, now that you are aware that so many things can affect the mental health of your child, it's time to be aware. I myself, do I even have issues? Start from yourself and start seeking for help for yourself, so that you can actually raise that child properly. If you were showing less love, please go ahead to increase the love. If you were not being supportive, this is the time to be supportive. If you need to do the evaluation with your child, please sit down and do the one-on-one evaluation with your child. Let there be a closure, let there be a connection between you and this kid, so they can feel free to tell you whatever they're going through, and you too can be sensitive enough to understand that, oh, I think my child is going through this and I can place this. It's like when the child comes to meet you, oh, mommy, I have headache. You quickly think of Panadol, or any of those things. So when the child sinks into the mood, you should quickly think like, okay, I think my child is having a mental meltdown or something, and I need to help this child like that.
So someone is asking, why does stigmatization cause depression?
Okay, stigmatization is something that is not nice to start with at all. Nobody wants to be stigmatized, because it's like they single you out of the crowd and they like throw stones on you,
and it crashes
your self-esteem, everything. So when that happens, definitely it triggers depression. Definitely to make you sad. It will make you sad that you feel like I'm not wanted. Makes you feel like I'm not loved, I'm not appreciated. Makes you feel like I'm the odd one out. And when you have different kind of harsh words, mean words that come from people, it's like when they had the people living with HIV when it came out, a lot of them were stigmatized, and they are still being stigmatized till today, even if they have the antiretroviral drugs that take, and it makes them, some of them don't even show that they're HIV positive, and they can give birth to children that don't even have HIV, but they are still stigmatized today.
Like this HIV person, I had a coursemate then. He works in the lab, and I think he did a project on HIV. He knows how the whole thing works. Like, he knows a lot about it. He knows, okay, there are some medications that, okay, the partner takes, will be able to transmit and all of that. And then, out of curiosity, I asked him, can you marry a HIV positive person? He said no. So then imagine someone with vast knowledge, someone that knows a lot. You can do this, you can do this, you can do this. But he said he can't marry HIV.
So that.
And then imagine someone that thinks by touching, by kissing or anything,
hugging, So stigmatization, it puts you in the spot where you're being rejected. That's just puts you in that spot where you're rejected. And when people don't even nobody likes rejection, and a lot of people process rejection in different ways. So stigmatization actually leads to depression for many people, yes. Except for those that have built that wall within themselves to say, I don't think I'm going to be affected by what people say, or I'm beyond this sickness and stuff like that.
And those people, they usually have a strong what's it called, support system.
Yes, they have a strong support system. So
yeah. Thank you so much for coming. I've learned a lot, and I hope our viewers have learned, and we've come to the end of our session today, and I hope parents out there will learn to relate with their kids, practice communications, and not be quick to dismiss. Even if they are saying stupid things, at least listen to them, and from there you can pick one or two things from the nonsense or what you think they are saying. Because my teacher used to say, in every nonsense there is sense.
Yes.
So you just have to be sensitive enough to pick out, okay, this is it. So thank you so much, and we've come to the end of our session today. Have a good evening and a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you. Bye.